Implementing an FCT and PECS Intervention Plan by Ryan, Lena, Taylor, Gianna, and Jasmine. Willow, an inclusive preschool located in an urban area, serves around 250 students ages 3 to 5 years old. 100 of these students are receiving regular education and 150 of these students are receiving special education. About 50 students receive speech services. 25 of these students are nonverbal, and 5 of these students use a picture exchange communication system, PECS. This preschool has 24 classrooms, with each classroom consisting of 8 to 12 students and a teacher with 2 assistants. Also on staff are 2 speech therapists, an occupational therapist, a physical therapist, the principal, and 4 to 6 volunteers per day. Currently, there are 2 ongoing behavioral concerns that we have been asked to consult on. The first behavioral concern is students are engaging in fights over toys during playtime in every classroom. The second behavioral concern is students are engaging in tantrums, also during playtime. The reported antecedent is that the preschoolers are taking toys from each other without asking permission. This has resulted in preschoolers fighting or engaging in a tantrum. We as CBA consultants have created an intervention plan utilizing functional communication training, FCT, with the use of PECS for those students who are nonverbal. Functional communication training, FCT, is a procedure that teaches individuals how to communicate in an appropriate way and acts as a replacement behavior for maladaptive behavior. For example, asking for items instead of taking an item from someone, or asking for a break instead of crying to receive a break. Functional communication training is individualized as it identifies the function of the maladaptive behavior and then works to teach individuals how to use functional communication to receive the same consequence without engaging in the maladaptive behavior. The Picture Exchange Communication System, PECS, is a form of communication in which a nonverbal learner exchanges pictures to communicate what they want and need to a conversation partner. When individuals request using PECS, their request is reinforced by receiving the item they asked for. PECS is designed to teach individuals to spontaneously initiate social communication. Results from a study conducted by Labelle et al. Showed a significant decrease in maladaptive behaviors for 3 children with minimal or no communication skills aged 4 to 5 years old following the implementation of PECS. We have chosen to include both FCT and PECS into our intervention, as research by Labelle et al. Has found that a combination of PECS and FCT is an effective intervention plan to increase communication skills and decrease maladaptive behaviors for individuals diagnosed with autism.
In this slide, we will be going over the 6 steps for implementation. Step number 1 is to conduct an FBA, which stands for Functional Behavioral Assessment, to identify the functions behind the behavior. Step 2 is to conduct a preference assessment to identify potential reinforcers. Step 3 is to teach the learner how to physically exchange pictures with another person, which you will see in phase 1 of PECS. Step 4 is to teach the learner to spontaneously exchange pictures and generalize the skill, which you will see in phase 2 of PECS. Step 5 is to teach the learner to discriminate between pictures, which you will see during phase 3 of PECS. And lastly, step 6 is to teach functional communication. On this slide, we will be going over how to conduct an FBA. According to the textbook, conducting an FBA allows us to create a hypothesis on the function or functions behind the behavior. This can be done by collecting ABC data, where you take data on the antecedent, which is what happened before the behavior, the actual behavior, and the consequence, which is what happened after the behavior. You could also take scatterplot data by recording when, where, and with who the behavior occurred. An interview could also be conducted, which can provide a first-hand account of the behavior. By analyzing all this collected data, a hypothesis can be developed on what the function or functions of a behavior is.
Hi, everybody. My name is Ryan, and I'm gonna start off with phase one of PECS. To start teaching PECS, the teacher will need to teach the learner how to physically exchange the pictures with another person with the help of a silent prompter or silent assistant. This is done by arranging the environment to have one preferred item as identified in the preference assessment in view but out of reach. The teacher will position themselves in front of the learner, and the silent assistant will be positioned behind the learner, ready to step in and prompt if and when needed. The teacher will build motivation to request for the item by playing with it hold holding their hand out once the learner and will hold their hand out once the learner shows interest in it. When the learner begins to reach for the item, the silent assistant will redirect their hand using physical prompt and have them pick up the corresponding picture from their textbook and place it into the teacher's hand. The teacher will then immediately say the name of the item and provide the learner with it. It's important that verbal prompts are not used during this process to avoid the learner becoming dependent and support independence. And one of the most important thing is to make it fun and follow the learner's lead. You want to teach them that communication doesn't just have to be just a simple exchange. They should have fun with it so that way they will learn better. And as the learner begins to develop these skills, the silent assistant should start to fade their prompts and have the learner complete the steps independently. While watching this YouTube video, you will see a demonstration of phase one using PECS. Alrighty, everybody, after talking about phase one, we will now go on to phase two of PECS. Phase two is designed to increase spontaneous exchange with different individuals and to generalize the skill within various environments by contriving requests throughout the learner's day with different individuals in various environments. The same process as phase one is implemented, but the silent assistant is no longer provides prompts to pick up the corresponding pictures, and the communication partner will move away from the learner so that the learner must move to them to exchange the picture with them. The silent assistant may provide nonverbal prompts to the learner to go to the partner if needed, but the goal for phase two is that the silent prompter should for the most part, be gone. As time goes on, the learner's textbook will also be positioned further away from them, requiring the learner to go to their textbook and then go to the partner to do the exchange. And this helps basically their determination for what they actually want. And this actually does require a lot of energy for the learner to do this. So the fact that they're going to and from the fact that they're going to their textbook and then to their communication partner is a very big deal. Alrighty, if you click on this link, you will watch a YouTube video and you'll basically see a demonstration of how phase two of PECS should be.
After the learner has mastered phase 3, FCT can be implemented. As the identifying antecedent for the preschoolers' maladaptive behaviors are when toys are being taken away from one another without asking, and this occurs most often during playtime. Teachers should be teaching the learners to ask for each other for toys using PECS throughout the school day, especially during playtime. Asking someone for a toy using PECS acts as a replacement behavior as it serves the same function as the maladaptive behavior of gaining access to an item. For example, if a learner begins to reach for a toy another is playing with, block the learner from grabbing it and prompt them to use their PECS to ask for it.
On this slide, we will be going over materials needed for PECS. To begin teaching PECS, you will need preferred and non-preferred items, printed and cut out pictures of each preferred and non-preferred item with Velcro on the back side, a PECS book, or laminated piece of paper with Velcro will be needed. It may help to laminate each picture to protect from damage. A second individual will also be needed to act as the silent assistant, and familiar individuals will be needed once the skill is being generalized to other people.
Baseline data on maladaptive behaviors due to communication deficits should be collected before implementing the FCT and PECS intervention. Ongoing data on these maladaptive behaviors should be collected while the teaching of PECS and FCT occurs. While teaching PECS, data should be collected on the number of prompts and prompt level required. Data-informed decisions can then be made on whether a learner has mastered a PECS phase or needs further instruction. After the learners have mastered PECS, data should continue to be collected on maladaptive behaviors due to communication deficits. This data should show a decrease in these maladaptive behaviors after the PECS and FCT intervention was implemented.